Three.
Homelessness and drug abuse, a dangerous combination. Imagine being evicted, thrown out of your home, abandoned by your friends and family. You ask yourself, where do I go? What do I do now? Now you realize that you are homeless, and it's a very bad situation for anyone to be in. This is a huge problem that lasted since the dawn of humanity. This problem is still prevalent worldwide and nationwide as well. There are 3 million people who are homeless in the US as of right now. Homelessness is a very devastating situation with poverty, lack of money, lack of shelter, and lack of a decent job. Many homeless people turn to certain vices in order to help them find pleasure during this tough time. Unfortunately, these vices include drugs and alcohol. Many homeless people abuse drugs and alcohol, leading to them being damaged or even worse, death. This is homeless abuse, the abuse of drugs and alcohol among the homeless population. I will be discussing the problem, the causes, and the solution for homeless abuse. Homeless abuse is a major issue in the United States that needs to have a solution. We need to stop this problem until more people, so that people in the future won't have to suffer. First, drugs. Homeless people abuse many types of drugs, including heroin, cocaine, and other hardcore drugs. Many of these drugs can lead to brain damage and even worse, death. Many of these drugs are legal, and many of these homeless people who abuse drugs on a regular basis, meaning that they dance with death every time they use these drugs. In the article Drug Abuse, Reed states, drug overdoses are now the top cause of death for Americans under 50. This proves that drug abuse is now a leading cause of death in the United States. And this now proves that this is also a regular cause of death for many young Americans. In addition to this, alcohol also proves as a major source of damage to homeless people. Alcohol endangers many homeless people, but however, most of the people who abuse alcohol who are homeless are of the older age. Regardless of this, alcohol can be as deadly as drugs. In the article Alcohol Abuse, Price discusses the evils of alcohol abuse by saying, killing 80,000 Americans a year and draining more than $220 billion from the economy. This reveals that alcohol abuse is as deadly as drug abuse, and that both these types of abuse need to be checked, and people who suffer from addiction to these substances need to be helped, especially those who are homeless and are suffering every day from this abuse. Since the 2008 recession, poverty has increased in the United States. In the article Montana Outlook: The Transition to Growth, Patrick states, the state remains in the grip of its worst recession since the 1980s, and the news of closure and layoffs is depressingly easy to find. This shows that many people have been negatively affected by the recession back in 2008. Many of these people lost their jobs and their homes. Some even became homeless and never recovered. This caused many homeless people to find drugs and alcohol and abuse them as a way to escape their misfortune. In the article Domestic Poverty, Nolan states, economists attribute this situation to the widening income disparity, wage stagnation, a scarcity of affordable housing, and the growing prevalence of part-time or temporary employment. This shows that even today, with the recession over and the economy in a better shape, still many people face poverty and many people are even homeless. Many people can barely afford their mortgage and bill payments because of these four negative effects. We now live in a world, still even after the recession, with a large economic gap, wage stagnation, a lack of affordable housing, and a lack of full-time jobs. This causes many problems in the economy, including many people not being able to afford the things that they used to in the past. Many people are now in poverty because of this, and some are even homeless. In the article, Poverty and Homelessness, Greenblatt states, 8 years after the last recession ended, rates of poverty and homelessness remain high, though they have come down a little bit. This shows that even with a high economy like today, many people still are homeless, and many people are still in poverty, and many people who are homeless and in poverty abuse drugs and alcohol and are at risk for their lives. However, there is a solution to this problem. Today we have numerous government safety programs including government welfare, that help many poor people and people in poverty today with their lives and with their finances. These government programs can even extend to the homeless population. But even with these government programs, they're still not enough to help the rising homeless population and the rising poverty of today. In the article, Poverty and Homelessness, Greenblatt states, conservatives want to increase work mandates with the goal of reducing the number of people receiving government assistance. This means that conservatives are looking at a new way to tackle poverty. Instead of just government assistance programs, they're looking at workfare programs as well, work mandates, and able to help those who are economically disadvantaged, those who are poor, and those who are even homeless, in order for them to find work and to benefit their lives, and to turn away from drugs and alcohol. Work will allow homeless people to build their self-esteem, and this will further distance them from drugs and alcohol. In the article, GOP response, Government Cannot End Poverty, Dorning provides us with what J.C. Watts had said on this matter, stating, I got my values growing up in a poor black community on the east side of the railroad tracks, where money was scarce, but dreams were plentiful and love was all around. This quote reveals the resilience and the determination power of Republican politician J.C. Watts. J.C. Watts grew up in a lower income neighborhood, but however rose to become a powerful politician. This further shows that work can help someone in poverty rise from destitution to riches. I believe that a solution containing step 1, an increase of work mandates for those who are economically disadvantaged, the continuation of government assistance programs, and 3, a program that allows temporary housing for those who are homeless. I believe that those 3 steps are steps that the government should take in order to help this problem. I believe that the government should put some of its budget into funding these 3 steps in order to solve the poverty and homelessness once and for all. This homelessness and drug abuse has been going on for far too long. For over 10 years, People have become homeless. People barely afford their utility bills and mortgages. People have been living paycheck to paycheck. But with this solution, there will be no more of that. We will see a new golden age for America and a better condition for the economy, both in the grand sense and for the everyday people as well. In conclusion, I've gone over the problem, the causes, and the solution to the problem of homeless abuse. Where homeless people abuse drugs and alcohol in order to escape their misfortune. I believe that step 1, an increase in work mandates. Step 2, the continuation of government benefits to those of the lower class. And number 3, a temporary solution for housing for those who are homeless as a way to overcome this problem. We should build those who are suffering. We shall build those who are suffering up rather than push them down into a life of drug and alcohol addiction.